Okay, welcome to this week's review. Welcome to this week's
Revision.
revision. Hold on, hang out. I could just start again and cut that out, but I'm not going to because as a kind of person I am, I like to put it out there.
Bloopers.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because can't be asked.
That's the real reason.
The real reason, and it's his favourite week. It's Snatch Game. Brilliant thing was because they've been like the week off, right? We sat down. He worked this morning, so we sat down after lunch and put the episode on. And then Rue came out and did the whole la 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 Snatch Game, and the Queen started jumping around. He was like, "Fuck's sake, I'd forgotten it was Snatch Game."
To be fair, fuck's sake, I'd forgotten it was Snatch Game as well.
It's weird. We said this on video before.
I think the last video.
Completely unwarranted reputation for being the episode of the season, and it's generally just one of the shittest.
I mean, if that's the reason why it's one of the it's the shittest episode, then yes.
Yeah, but that's not what everyone else thinks about it. Everyone involved in the show treats it like it's some sort of holy grail, and the rest of us just sit there cringing. Now, actually, funnily enough,
it wasn't actually that
bad. We'll go through. I've got them in runway order, but we'll talk about each one Snatch Game as we go through. I think probably the easiest. But for me, it was only 3 of the 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It's all 7 of 9. But 3 of them in the top row killed it. 1, bottom row fail. Epic fail. Even though
R1. Denali.
That's what the judges said. I didn't see it, but we'll come to that. So first up on the runway was Olivia Lux, who frankly is getting right up my fucking nose now. Absolutely wanted her to just do one and piss off, because I do not see what she sees in herself. I want to smack the fucking smile off her face. Just go, get off your horse. You're not all that. You're mediocre at best. Bugger off. You're a bit of a diva. And you're a bit of a diva. So she was that vegan woman off of Instagram or whatever the fuck she's off of.
Tabitha.
Do you know Tabitha, Tom?
I do.
You do? Right. So you talk about her then, because we had no idea.
Basically, she's an Instagram. She's exactly what it says on that tin. She's an Instagram vegan chef. But
you ever mention she's a vegan? I bet she does.
Like, Tabitha is her own person, and the way Olivia Lux did her wasn't Tabitha at all. Like, this Tabitha comes across so friendly and so lovable, and she's just like someone you want to be friends with. And Olivia Lux just played as me.
Right.
I would say, because I think it was Michelle, when she was doing the critique, sort of said, obviously, I think it was Michelle, that she knows Tabitha. And that, that there's 4 key things about it. Yes, she's vegan, but she's also very family oriented. She's very this, she's very that. And Olivia didn't hit any of those beats. Now, obviously, we have no fucking idea who Tabitha is.
I did suspect Michelle would know her, though.
Yeah.
Because Michelle's into that whole, Michelle's a big Insta queen herself and all the rest of it. So as soon as I knew it was someone on Insta, I'm like, Michelle is going to know this bitch. Michelle is going to know if she's nailed it.
But was that a fair critique, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay. And then for her main look, I just written Ice Queen leather. I thought when she came around that corner, had the silver.
Opinions.
Had the silver. I thought it was very much a bondage Elsa. So when she didn't mention that at all, I started talking about other things. I was like, oh, well, I didn't get any of that, love. Sorry.
Mercury Lab experiment, I think, was the official line.
I loved it. I really did love it.
Okay.
It was like a mixture of like Pokemon, the weird twins.
Team Rocket.
Yeah, that's the one.
Now you said that, I can totally see it. Yeah.
It's a mixture between those and Dr. Frankenfurt from Rocky Horror.
Yeah.
And then that weird splatter on her head.
Yeah. Well, the thing, because that's what I saw as like ice or whatever. And then because she was white with blue, my head just went winter themed. So I think it was more because it wasn't what I thought it was. I just went, no.
I liked it.
I don't hate it.
Yeah, but I think that's the thing for me. It didn't stand out for me. I've seen Olivia do better outfits. Yeah. I've seen other queens do better outfits. I've seen plenty of other queens do way worse outfits. This was very solid, but it didn't blow me away. I think was my reaction to it. I did like what she did with like whether it was makeup or
like snow. Well, again, I thought it was snowflakes.
No, splashes of mercury.
Is that what it was?
The whole thing.
But snowflake.
I feel like she could have done, if it was supposed to be like an experiment gone wrong, I feel like she could have done like hair, like frizzy mess.
Blasted back.
With like, yeah, like blasted, and then have like the weird, whatever it was meant to be, on her head, but then on her like shoulders or something.
Yeah, melt half your face off or something. I mean, not literally. Yeah. Well, you can if you want. But I'm just,
based on your rant earlier, I'd say
probably
literally.
I do not wish harm on Olivia. Let me be clear about this. I just don't want her in the show anymore. But I didn't get gone wrong from it because it looked perfect. I think that's, thinking about it now, that's probably why for me I was a bit.
I think that's actually a pretty solid critique of that for what she was going for.
There was nothing gone wrong about it. It was flawless. And that's why I think for me it was like, after Olivia was Rose.
I want to say with this,
I know what you're going to say.
Yeah, was because obviously they made the big thing about, and to be fair, when she did this earlier in sort of the season, and we had that inevitable reaction of an American queen doing a Scottish accent, and then of course it turns out that she actually is originally from Scotland. It's very what's his face, Captain
Jarman.
Thank you. And fucking nailed it. So when she comes up and says, I'm going to be doing Mary, Queen of Scots, my immediate reaction was, well, unless she goes the Michelle Gomez route, this is probably going to be a car crash. And what did she do?
She went Psycho Bitches. It was brilliant. Tom, have you seen Psycho Bitches?
I can't put my finger on it, so probably not.
Basically, okay, so Psycho Bitches, it was a series that ran on Sky Arts about 8 years ago. They did 3 seasons, and they got in some very high-profile actors to play famous characters, either mostly from history, or some of them were fictional or what have you.
I do. Yeah, I remember it now.
And it was basically, so it was Rebecca Front was the analyst, and they came in, and so you had Julia, what's her name? Julia? No, 99.
Oh, I know.
Julia Davis. Yeah. As Mary Pickford, the silent film artist, and every time so her whole thing was in silent films. It was always sepia with like the border around it, and then after she go, and she'd faint, and it was. And they had Michelle Gomez did Mary Queen of Scots like she was a Glaswegian skaghead, and she couldn't understand a word she was saying apart from "get to fuck." That's the only phrase you have. And then you were like, "What you say? Get to fuck, get to fuck." It was, and it's Christ. And one of the funniest ones, right, was briefly Jack Whitehall. So basically, Rebecca Front sat there writing her notes. There's a knock on the door. And she's like, "Come in." And Jack Whitehall peers round the door as Princess Diana and goes, "Am I too soon?" If there's a lot of them are on YouTube. Unfortunately, the show's never been like put anywhere else or released anywhere. But they are all there. There isn't a single sketch that isn't comedy gold. We both straight away were like, please, please, please be that Mary Queen of Scots. Candy didn't know who Mary Queen of Scots was. I think it's fairly implicit in the name, love. She was Mary, Queen of Scots.
So for the record, Candy, that was not an Irish accent.
Scots. Fuck's sake.
When I hear her say, she's doing an Irish bitch, I was like, are you all there, or that's not Irish, love. That's not Irish.
So here's a little map of the world. Here's the UK. Wow. But yes, Rose, absolutely class. Loved every moment of it.
Yeah.
I just wish I'd seen more. Genuinely wish I'd seen more. Hello.
Actually, genuine for me, with my on record loathing of Snatch Game, laughed out loud pretty much every time Rose came out for something, and I never do that.
No, he really doesn't. Trust me. And then Rose wore roses, kinda essentially. Michelle picked up on it. It was frills again. It didn't quite look like something I used to clean my back this time, but it wasn't far off. But I mean, Michelle said everything that we need to say about it, about the actually, because it was shaped, because it was cut, because it was edited, because you had a shoulder, it worked so much better than anything we've seen previously. Didn't massively love it, didn't hate it.
When she said there's something hiding under this, I was expecting to go boo, and it'd be like a nice little, you know, two-piece or something. But I was like, frills again?
Yeah.
Why are we seeing frills constantly?
Yeah.
Like, I get it looks nice, you know, the one time that you did it.
Yeah.
It doesn't look nice anymore.
Yeah. Week 7, we're a little bit, even though, what are we, week 9, 10? I don't know. I've not. It just feels like forever because of COVID and because we've got 2 concurrent series going. I was just trying to work it back to how many queens we got. That'll take far too long. Let's not do that. My brain will.
Oh, well, also it's confusing as well because no queens went home in the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, exactly.
And we've also skipped an episode because of the whole.
Yeah.
And then the week before that, Candy didn't go home, dressed as my mother. So you know, but I've got more to say about that when we get to Candy. I've got issues, frankly. I've got issues. So next up was Utica. Okay, what were you doing? What we love, you know, we've made no secret of our love for Utica. And the minute, I mean, I actually think the squirrels could have worked. You could have made that squirrel hat work.
Lean into. I mean, yeah, I do want to say, absolutely get, and yeah, and I think even people like Rue and someone was saying, it's like, but Bob Ross had an afro. So it's not from that perspective. You are doing Bob Ross. You are not culturally appropriating.
No, exactly.
White person in afro. So yeah, great. But I also totally get where Utica was coming from, and absolutely respect her that. No, as she always does, which is one of the reasons I think why we love her so much, because everyone else, Utica, basically. So she basically makes like an afro out of like loads of squirrels glued together. She should have fucking leaned into that weirdness.
Yeah. I mean, when someone mentions like what's going on with the it's how I keep my hair, it's how I keep my volume and my shape. There was, you could have worked with it. You could have worked with the crazy, right? Working with the crazy by actually eating paint, which I'm fairly certain is dangerous.
It wasn't actually paint.
Oh, was it not? Oh, thank God.
No, I don't think it was. I don't think Utica would do that, even though she's a wacky queen. I don't think she would.
I was genuine. I was horrified. I was like, "Are we gonna? Is it going to be like a cut to over a bucket?"
I was looking at it. I was like, "Oh yeah, my tongue's been that color before. It's food coloring."
Spray food coloring. That would make more sense. Shelley or no? Shell. Can you comment? Is there such a thing as spray food coloring?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Paul knows. Yeah. Didn't need to ask Shell.
You can get like the gold and the silver spray paints.
Right. Okay. Oh, I feel so much better about this. I was genuinely concerned on so many levels. I'm not a baker. What do I know? Yeah, I just, the minute it was obvious what she was doing, and bless Rue tried so hard to go to do everything but say don't do it, and Utica was, and you could see her going no. I was just thinking no. Oh my God.
I feel like she could have gone like, I don't even know, to be honest. I don't know Bob Ross enough to know his character, but I feel like I know that he does like happy little flowers and happy little trees. She could have done something along those lines rather than going wacky psycho eating paint.
Yeah, see, I would have taken the fact that he is. I mean, who was saying they put Bob Ross on to go to sleep to him? Someone mentioned.
Got Mick.
Okay, so I would have taken that, and I'd have had Bob putting himself to sleep every time he spoke. So every time he's talking really softly, do you know what I mean? There were things within the character you could have leaned into that were funny.
Yeah, the voice wasn't even right because it actually came across as a bit creepy serial killer.
Yeah, he came across a bit like Ellie Diamond's other character, frankly. But you know what I mean? But
Dirty Diamonds, or whatever.
yeah, Dirty Diamonds, big dick. Oh, that's where it's from, Dr. Dick. There we go. It's it was a fail on every level, and I was so upset because I felt worried, and then when Utica ended up in the bottom two lip syncing, and there wasn't necessarily a clear winner out of the lip sync apart from, if you look at season history, I was genuinely a bit.
Although didn't you say at one point that Elliot didn't know the words?
There was, but the trouble is you never know if that's the edit, if it was a bit of the song that wasn't the song. But it did look to me like, apart from the
we are jumping ahead a bit.
Yeah, the main line about fascination or fascinators or whatever. I was vaguely familiar with the song. It did look like Elliot didn't quite know the chorusy bits.
There was a bit where it just looked like they were doing the old, like they say, as if you don't know the words, that. Just keep moving. Don't do what a lot of queens we've seen do, where you just
there was no enunciation of actual words. It was just.
But it's just.
Fishes at feeding time.
I have loads to say about Elliot, but we'll get to that when we come to her.
Right. Well, next up is Simone.
We haven't done Utica's outfit.
Oh, we haven't shit the picnic basket,
which was amazing. I loved it.
I did love the picnic. I did love, but I love the fact that it wasn't just a picnic basket. She was a picnic. There were the ants. There was the picnic blanket. There was the whole. Do you know what I mean?
The hamper.
It wasn't just. It was a theme. It was thought through. It was well delivered. I thought the body was a little minimal from what we've seen on Utica before, but that worked because if she'd come out with another adapted set of curtains and fluffy sleeves and big trousers and a big flocky skirt, it would have been what we've seen before. So actually, the fact that she went minimal, it didn't look like there was much to it, I think then served her because it's not something we've really seen her do much.
I feel like she could have had like a skirt in the same fabric as the top was, and
like
sort of, and then tore it away, and then the ants would be falling up her leg. So she's like ants in the pants.
Yeah, okay, yeah. Oh, now, so you say that. Now, that would have worked if it had been a long skirt that you tore away and there was hot pants and the ants were going into the ants in the pants hot pants. There you go. We've mildly improved it in like 30 seconds. But I did like it. I
loved it.
I did, yeah.
Can I move on to Simone?
Yes,
Simone. I had never heard of her character in Snatch Game. Did it matter? Did it fuck? Oh my goodness. The weird thing is she leaned into, I think, some sort of stereotypes. The sort of like the kiss my teeth duck face kind of. But it worked. I mean, like I said, I don't know the source material, and I understand why Ru was a bit like, oh, you're worried it might offend people because you're taking someone with like historical cultural value and you're gonna kind of take the piss. But
I think someone was from the Underground Railroad basically getting freed slaves from the south to the north where they could then be properly emancipated.
Right.
Although bear in mind this was still America back then, and we all know that America has a huge race problem now, hence my use of the word freed.
Yeah. Relatively freed for that day.
Weren't actually in official slavery in the South, just into unofficial slavery somewhere else in America.
So that's why she came up from under the desk.
Yes.
The lamp.
Because
actually that kind of makes it even funnier.
Because she'd have been basically undrawn and quartered if the white southern slave owners had actually ever caught hold of her.
Yeah. She looks quite old in the pictures, so I'm assuming she lived to a ripe old age before anything happened, if at all. Right. Okay.
She's basically, I think, similar to Rosa Parks. She's a similar historical figure in the
Black history,
American Black rights.
Right. But Simone made it really funny. I mean, she did make it really funny. And okay, so knowing that, I also don't think she stepped on her achievements to do so either.
No.
Do you know what I mean? She made her, she sort of modernized her character in the same way that Mary Queen of Scots was modernized.
Yes, to be a Glaswegian.
You know, she was modernized to be sort of a bit in the hood,
yeah,
kind of character.
and
So
very
actually,
like, you know,
clever.
bunch of white people around me. I think, yeah, best to keep a low profile.
And when she mistook Jennifer Lawrence for Jennifer, I couldn't work out if that was intentional or not.
No, it was not. I think that, to be honest, is probably what cost her, because you know, it's like, obviously, you know, Jennifer Garner, African American, Jennifer Lawrence, absolutely renowned for, you know, doing white girl appropriation, and basically a bit of a sort of mini Scarlett Johansson for a lot of roles, unfortunately. And not dissimilar to Scarlett, tends to dig her heels in and double down when she's confronted on it, rather than actually going, oh yeah, you're right, sorry, maybe I should step back as a privileged white woman. And I think that is what probably cost her the points, because I have opinions about where she was positioned in this episode. I don't think she could have been safe.
No, not at all. Absolutely not. Especially not with the runway.
Oh my God, the runway was amazing.
And the runway is, I mean, I remember having this conversation last summer when there was a lot of public opinion on the Black Lives Matter movement and whether or not rallies should have been happening during COVID and and the main point I raised was, one, I think COVID is a slightly separate issue. You know, whether we should be rallying and gathering during COVID. Yeah, I don't think that's tied to whatever you're rallying and protesting about per se. But I remember saying on a thread somewhere on Facebook, that the thing is this is all well and good, but everyone suddenly put in their profile picture black for a week, and everyone banging on about sort of thing is great while there's media attention, but actually Black Lives Matter has to always matter, and it can't just be when there's been a really horrible incident like there was last year. It's got to be always. It's got to be always. And I think that's what Simone did. That's what she did brilliantly, and highlighted the whole, doesn't matter if it's just happened again, we've still got to be saying those names over and over and over until Black Lives do matter. And I think it was brilliant. And the fact that she wore such a stark white dress, so that the bullet holes really stood out. The whole thing was insanely simple, but insanely clever and effective. And that's not a safe no. Do you think Rue was worried about controversy if he gave her the win? Surely not.
I think so. I mean, I really do think so.
Do you think that might be it?
Majorly, like in the drag race community, there is actually a lot of racism, and there is actually a lot of like sort of white supremacy, if you want to say. Majority of the community are white. Yeah, there's not many black, black creators, black or, but my friend Anik, she brought up a good point about RuPaul, and I know this is controversial. I know you both. No, it's fine. It's fine. But, carry on. He's the. What did she say? He's the white people's black man.
Yes.
So
okay. No, I understand that.
All the white people look up to RuPaul, even though he's black. Yeah. And it's not necessarily meant to fit into white culture, even though there is no culture, but still. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting because I often look at things like this. So, like, I kind of take the lead from, we've had this conversation before. There are certain things that, because of my own upbringing, I've had to find my own way through, and there's some stuff I still don't get right. Right, I hand on heart will admit that. I'm happy to be told when I'm wrong, and I'm happy to kind of learn from my mistakes, if you like, because I grew up in a situation where, and I won't say which ones because that really wouldn't be fair right now, but there are members of my immediate family who actively taught me I was better than people I was at school with because I'm white. I was taught to believe that from 2, 3, 4, right? The weird thing is, not weird, actually, no, I think that's not weird at all. The good thing, I guess, is I never believed it. I knew instinctively what I was being taught was wrong, but it's actually really hard to go mentally and thought process wise against those kind of scripts that you are taught as a child. I was in counselling a few years ago, and I was taught that there were certain what it is you learn scripts as a child. You learn scripts, and that defines your behaviour as an adult, whether you realise it or not. And there are certain things, and I can remember really clearly certain conversations with certain members of my family where they used incredibly poor language and derogatory terms, largely aimed at specifically Black people rather than Asian or whatever other kind of culture you might want to possess, and told outright that I was better and how and why I was better. And I would go to school, and there was a girl in the year below me who actually became a firm friend of mine as we grew up, because we were in the same school for a long time and then in the same sixth form. And she's a friend of mine on Facebook now, brilliant lady called Gina Fearon. And she's had to deal with racism her entire life. And I used to go to school, and she was a runner, and she ran for the school. She would win our school cup after medal after award, and she was always being pulled out of assembly and given these awards and stuff. And I used to look at Gina as such an inspiration and think, this is why I know what I feel is right and what I'm being told is wrong, because Gina is brilliant and Gina is winning all these things, whereas I can't run to the other side of the fucking playground. You know what I mean? And you know, I've never told Gina these stories. I probably should. And it's just throughout my entire, you know, obviously there was a period of time where I was out of contact with her because we left school, and then Facebook didn't happen for 20 years or whatever it was. But as long as Gina has been in my life then and now, I always look up to her as such a massive inspiration to me, because she is my reminder that what I was taught was wrong. This got deep, didn't it?
It did.
Wow. Okay. Didn't really. Sorry, guys. But I think
No,
these are the things that need saying.
I would say never apologize for having these kind of conversations, because that for me that's the attitude we need to break.
Yeah.
That it's somehow
No, but I'm saying this is
wrong.
sorry if you came to see Drag Race and you got my confession instead. That's what I'm saying sorry for. I'm not saying sorry for confessing.
But at the end of the day, there is no good place to have these conversations. There is no bad place to have these conversations. These conversations, well, frankly, these conversations should happen a lot more than they actually do generally across society. But whenever these conversations happen, we had a similar thing, funny enough, and again, this is also going to be a massive detour, but let's face it, people, you watch these videos, you are used to us going on fucking detours. So if you aren't, it's too fucking late now, that's what I'm going to say. But we had a very similar thing with our review of It's a Sin, because I think it's safe to say that to varying degrees we did not go along with the
Public opinion.
Yes, the universal anthem of this is the best thing to ever hit British television, full stop. And it's nice to see from that facial expression that Tom's probably on a similar page to us.
No, I think Tom's the other way. I think Tom thinks it is one of the best things on British television.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Tom's like, what?
I just think it's it kind of teaches like the new gays what it was like.
I do know what you mean. I do know what you mean.
Like, you know, like the people, the you know, the what do you call them, the Gen Zs.
Yeah.
Who are like new and they don't know the past and they don't care about the past.
Oh, is that what they're calling the current? Is it Gen Z?
Is it? There's Gen Z, Gen X, and then millennials, and I fit into a millennial and a Gen Z, I think.
Right. Yeah, because you got boomers. You got boomers, Gen X. I think then it was millennials, or is it Gen Z after Gen X?
It's millennials are like 30-year-olds, basically.
Yeah, then you got what Gen Z are like 20 somethings.
Yeah, they're like mine, and
So so they're the ones that are one from millennials, basically.
so
And then
I'm a, what do they call it? A Zennial. So I'm
you're on
part
that kind of cusp.
Yeah.
But kind of going back to what I was saying is that obviously, we did a video where we kind of expressed our opinion of It's a Sin. And again, we weren't, I wouldn't say we were particularly derogatory of it, that there were just issues with it that we raised, as well as all of the really good stuff that it sort of brought up. And I think regardless of whether people agreed with our opinion or not, we did actually get various bits of feedback at various points about people saying things like, oh, you're right, I hadn't considered that, or oh, I hadn't taken that away from it, but now that you've mentioned that and I think about it, yes, I can see where you're coming from. So I think that's why these, whether you agree with them or not, these kind of conversations are important, because if they get even just one person to stop and think about your assumptions or how you interpret something, if it changes it and changes it for the better, brilliant. But at least it's making people think, and it's not brushing it under the carpet, which I think is what's happened with way too much racism and sexism and homophobia and biphobia, and especially now transphobia, which is still a huge problem within the LGBTQ community. These conversations need to be had. That's me off my soapbox. Yeah.
And we just went deeper and deeper and deeper.
I know. Originally, just to sort of, I know, the video's out there if people want to watch it, and join the other over 1,000 people that have watched it. But our It's a Sin video.
Just saying.
I know. Believe me, we have got no idea how either. But basically, I thought it was like a brilliant TV drama. And yes, it highlighted being a gay man at that time perfectly. What it didn't do was show what the lesbians did, which was basically nurse the gay men. And we've come under fire for it, and we've had people say, "Yeah, thank you for raising the point, because that's what I felt." So, do I want to take away from what it achieves? Absolutely not. Did I think it was an amazing piece of TV drama? Absolutely.
Is it perfect?
No. But what I found was interesting, and we didn't say in our actual It's a Sin video, because we didn't know this until afterwards, until people started pointing us in direction of different places, was that actually it was meant to have a 6th episode set today, where you find out where Jill goes back to the Isle of Wight for the first time, or whatever, or something like that. And it would have filled in that gap, because our concern was, mine in particular, was someone like my mother, who I'm guessing our 11 viewers have got a feel for my mother by now. But she would.
I could take them there, but I so won't.
She hasn't seen It's a Sin. If she does ever watch it, at the end of the final episode, I will get the sobbing phone call. Oh my God, are you going to die? Because what it doesn't do is have any kind of. Apparently, it did on broadcast, but didn't on the box set we watched. Any kind of coda as to where AIDS has gone in the years after 1991, because she watched That Is My Life. I had that phone call after the third, might have been first, I think it was first episode of Queer as Folk, of, oh my God, is that how you live your life? Are you going to die of AIDS? There wasn't even AIDS mentioned in Queer as Folk episode 1, right? But this is what I'm saying. There are people out there, the general public, who don't touch the world that's portrayed, don't understand a dramatization, or B, the wider implications. So that was kind of that was where it got the down point from me, was the whole, if my mother watches this, she will think that is the world today. She will not go, that was 1991, it's 30 years ago. I bet medicine's moved on since then. Not how my mother thinks. Bless her heart, not that intelligent. So that was the down point for me, was the whole, this potentially could do more harm than good. That was my overarching headline, if you like. But I don't ever want to take away from what it's done, what it's achieved. I'm willing to bet Channel 4 are now gutted they didn't do that 6th episode, because it's become such a runaway hit. And
they have did the like the interviews afterwards, though, haven't they? I don't know if
Yeah,
But
I think
I haven't watched them because I don't really think they'd be interested.
yeah,
I don't think people would be interested in that. I think they want another episode.
yeah. I'd rather have another episode than a Zoom interview with half the cast. You know, I mean, bless Callum. He must live more or less around the corner from you.
He,
He's in
so
town, isn't he?
I don't know if he lives there anymore. I think he's moved up to Treorchy Way somewhere.
Oh, he's up near
but
us. Oh, we're
yeah.
in it. Oh,
Well, goes past the window. Hello. But he used to be in school with me. I used to hang around with him. This was like primary school. This was like
yeah,
years and years and years ago.
yeah.
But he used to
We know
hang
a
with me.
celebrity by proxy.
But it was like year 3, year 4 that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
moved to a different school, and then he did like his performing arts, and he did all the singing and everything. And then I found him through I think it was a family friend, Alison. She reintroduced me to him. I had him as a friend on Facebook, and then that's when I found out that he was in this. And
Yeah.
um,
One of my
yeah.
other friends is in it as well. My friend Nathan's actually in it. He plays Pete. Who's in 2 episodes and then gets a funeral. But I remember when Nathan was filming it, we went for a coffee for. God, that's how long ago it was. We could go for a coffee, and he was saying he'd just been
What
doing
is this strange ritual you're talking about?
He'd been doing this new Russell T Davies thing. It's a sin, and it was brilliant. And it was this and that and the other. And then yeah, so between us all, we it's surprising we're not in it, really, isn't it? So basically, if our new Sammy, well, I can't say that. If our new cast
Yeah,
member,
if I
we've
were
got-
new saxophonist, the sax, whatever it's called.
yeah, thank you. I nearly said far too much. Then drops out. You can hit Callum up. See if he'll be in it.
Well, we tried to get Enid to do it, didn't we?
Oh, did you do it? I was
we were like,
joking when I said that. But then
If you can't, yeah, well, you know, I'll keep on to him if I need to. I got him on Facebook. I'll just be
yeah,
like,
do it.
can you
it.
do us a favour, please?
Oh, yeah.
Become the main star.
I'm sure you're getting loads and loads of us at work. Will you come and do this free thing instead?
In his local area, you know, haven't got far to travel.
Yeah, I say to keep the local performing arts going. They should all be in favor.
Yeah, because we could go on for like a fortnight and we'd sell out if he was in the cast. Fortnight. We'll do a 6-month fucking run. That's what we'll do. We'll all become professional actors off the back of it. And we'll go straight into panto. Can you imagine?
Perhaps this is the universe telling you the route to take.
Maybe it is.
Get messaging.
Anyway, no, we've that part's filled now, actually. But anyway, who knows? It seems to be cursed. They may not stay.
Especially if they get pushed.
I forgot, Mick.
Yeah, I think we should revert back to Drag Race now, what we were actually talking about.
At some point tonight. That was a real round the houses, that was. What, Mick? Paris Hilton. Oh, sure, it was a cat. Just, do you know what I loved? Now, knowing that Gottmik has worked with actual Paris Hilton, the voice thing, do you suppose that's actually a real thing? She's got a different voice off camera.
I think so.
I'd love to think so. I'd love to think, like, you know, tell me when we're rolling, and the camera's rolling. Oh, hi. It was priceless.
It's this stereotypical white girl, like, you know, poplars. I love it. It's just, yeah.
And the look was right. You know, she, and the thing is, you know, I'm not a fan of Paris Hilton. I'm vaguely aware of her. But I got enough of it to find it entertained me. You know, all the very basic things I know about her were there. So I'm sure if you know her, you know, if you're one of these people that watch The Simple Life, The Easy Life, something, whatever it was called, her and Nicole Richie.
I thought back to when Pharamone, is it Pharamone? Blonde one, you know, the one who always cries. She did Gigi. Did Gigi Gorgeous? Something like that.
Yeah.
The YouTuber. And I thought it was going to be very similar to that, but then I was gladly shocked that she did a better job than Pharamone. But yeah.
And also, we should probably mention at this point Raven being in on the guest panel,
And pork chop.
and pork chop again.
I've got
But of course, Raven. I love Raven's things. I don't win anything when I'm here. Brilliant. Almost stole the show in one line. Good girl. That's
the
what we like
worst
to see.
thing about Raven this week has been, I don't know if you've seen it, I don't know if you follow it on Instagram, Facebook. She went into a really dark rabbit hole where she darkened her skin, or darkened the picture so she looked darker, and it was really bad. Yeah, just go back, Instagram, Facebook, just search, and she'll,
A little internet
like,
search now.
from the original picture, what she posted, to what she ended up posting is like basically blackface.
Ooh. Hang on, I forgot the images.
I don't know if you can see it.
I'm getting lots of images, but I don't know if I have the right one.
What if you do research for blackface? You can bet that's probably how they've
2
typed it.
seconds. Oh shit.
You okay there, Tom?
Yeah, I almost fell.
Weirdly, I've started typing Raven drag queen going for blackface, and blackfish has come up. I now want to know what blackfish has got to do with anything.
Let me show you
Oh,
if I can.
Oh,
Have you got-
I think we found it. Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's not.
It's not appropriate, is it?
No. It's like it's either a tan
it's-
gone very, very wrong,
It's
or
her profile picture as well, so I'm thinking,
shit the bed.
what on earth is she thinking?
Yeah, because I don't recall. Trying to think back to Raven's actual seasons, but I don't recall. Has she got any
But,
heritage?
like,
I don't think so.
hang on.
Like Native American, whatever.
That's her normal makeup. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah.
So to do something as dark as, I don't know whether, should I show it? Can I
Yeah,
show
sure.
it? On,
Yeah, no, we were talking about it. It's...
But
Oh no, that's not
basically,
the picture we were looking at. Oh my god,
no,
that's
that is what that's
right.
basically. But that's the look from this week's Drag Race. You know, the
Wait, it
with
didn't
the
look.
head.
It did. Yeah, it didn't look that dark. I mean, it did look. She looked
No,
dark on screen.
Exactly. So that leads me to think that she's darkening her skin purposefully,
Yeah.
to get some sort of backlash or
Yeah,
like
maybe.
recognition.
Just as like an attention thing, maybe perhaps.
Yeah, it's a bit sketchy, but yeah.
Well, I was wondering, is it? I mean, given you know, the situation. I don't know. Actually, I don't know. It's not quite the same in the States as here, is it? With like lockdowns and quarantines and what have you. But is it like a self tan gone horribly wrong?
I don't think so, considering most of the posts from a couple of days before were like, you know, just a normal skin color.
Yeah. Mm.
I think someone with
Not the
the
wisest
kind of,
decision.
like look skills that Raven has, I can't imagine them doing like a self-tanning session that goes wrong. I think they've got too much experience in terms of looks to actually do something like that.
Orcs.
Considering she's meant to be a makeup artist, I doubt that's really the way that she wants to go.
No. Well, watch this space, I'd guess, and see if anything comes off the back of it. Forgot what I was talking about. Got me. Paris Hilton.
This was the other one I laughed out loud at several times.
Yeah. And then the safety pin.
And to be fair, Simone as well. I loved Harriet Tubman.
Yeah.
But it was literally those three.
Yeah, the first three on the top row, then forget everyone else. But yeah, Gottmik's runway look I adored. That sort of punk, like the massive safety pin through her head.
Yeah.
How's your head, hun?
Huh?
How's your head, hun?
No complaints.
There really aren't.
But the whole, for once, like her particular makeup working because it was the very Susie and the Banshees sort of face as well. She even had like the sort of the punky hair.
Yeah.
With like the weird sort of like rat's tail, but very 70s, early 80s style as well. So, got clearly, did her research in terms of the punk world. Michelle picked up on that with the whole, you've absolutely nailed that sort of late 70s, early 80s British punk aesthetic, and she absolutely loved it.
Awesome.
I wish Michelle had used the pun. You actually pinned it. Instead of hit the nail on the head, you actually pinned the nail.
That would have been awesome. Next up was Denali. Who I've decided, it's been bothering me for weeks in drag, that Denali's face reminds me of someone. And this week, the penny dropped. And not everyone will know this character, but essentially her face is Loaxana Troy from Star Trek The Next Generation, Deanna Troy's mother. While we talk, I'll Google her. So she was Jonathan from Queer Eye, got a ton of praise on the main stage from the judges, and it must be stuff that was cut out of the episode because I did not see anything they were talking about. I did not understand. I didn't find it that funny. I didn't even find it that accurate, apart from the fact that you had the long silky hair. I was like, could she not have done a better beard than weird fucking scratch marks on her face and then like a glue-on I don't know. A boot from me. That's all I'm saying. What about you?
I wasn't a huge fan of the look because I think, yes, it was literally, anyone who knows Jonathan Ness, the first thing they think of is and it's a standard joke, he is gay Jesus, complete with like the long hair. But the reality is, sort of Jonathan is so much more than that. Because correct me if I'm wrong, Tom, I don't know how much you know about it. I'm pretty sure that Jonathan identifies as non-binary and is they them pronouns as a rule. But very gender fluid, does a lot of I think sort of Jonathan's been to things like the Met Ball and plays with a lot of like sort of gender imagery, gender stereotyping. At times he's almost, I think, bordering on what I would class as like non-performance drag almost. But likes to play that. And I don't think Denali leaned into that anywhere like enough. But I will say that of that bottom row, she was absolutely the funniest. And she had, I mean, again, it was pretty much the only two bits we saw. But the one thing that she did, which is how you always at least survive on Snatch Game, is when Elliot with two T's is basically trying to do a bit with her, she basically stole the joke and trumped Elliot. And that to me was just like, yeah, that's well done there, Denali, especially for someone who isn't a comedy queen.
I've got Loaxana Troy. I don't know if you'll be able to see it.
I can't see it because my head's in the way. Okay. Yeah, I see it.
It's the eyes. I think it's the eyes because she does the big black eyes, and that's what Loaxana Troy has. Yeah, what did you think of this one, Tom?
I thought Denali was going to come out in like, do you know what's her name? Tonya something.
Tonya Harding.
Yeah, the ice skater.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like
film. Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like a little, I ice skate, so I'm going to come out as this ice skater. And it would have been like quite funny to see.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously the controversy with Tonya Harding is the controversy, isn't it?
Yeah.
The whole breaking someone else's leg to win a fucking gold medal, or whatever it was. I don't really do sport, as we know. No, I think there was a more interesting choice to be made with the talents you have. I don't know. Can they? Well, queens have got out of their chair before in Snatch Game. What would have been stopping her?
You had queens that changed their bloody
outfits
halfway through.
Yeah, exactly.
Bob the drag queen.
Yeah,
Simone
exactly.
Changed. Many.
Then she did that kind of 50s diner on roller skates look, which I liked. It was cute. I thought, again, it was one of those ones that was thought through like a storyline. So you had the coffee pouring into the cup, into the and again, I think it's it's very much that 1950s idealistic Americana kind of vision that you know, maybe we don't know as well over here. You know, the whole diner thing. But yeah, I got it. I know what she was going for, and it worked.
They've got a whole new level, or like a different level of camp than us. Like our camp is different to theirs.
Yes, yeah. Their camp is what we would call kitsch.
Yeah,
I think that's kind of it, isn't it? Whereas camp for us is leaning into like panto and that kind of affair. Yeah, exactly. Oh. I couldn't possibly speak. Then we see what Tom has to say now. Elliot.
Again, I don't know if you know this, but I follow lots of like drama on Facebook, Instagram. But apparently he's a very transphobic, homophobic and racist person. After Candy came out along with a couple of other queens saying what they said to them in the workroom.
No, I did not know any of this.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
this episode is just going into so much drama, and
I know there's layers. It's like a bloody cake. But just know that. Well, it's weird because there's part of me that wants to be surprised, because part of me wants to go, surely nobody in the drag community should be that way. But then I think, well, and again, is it harsh of me to say that because it's a stereotype, but Southern attitudes can be insular at best. Not always, because
I think I'd like to say with that, and it's something that comes up with a whole bunch of other things as well, like generations and stuff and the other. At the end of the day, it's an explanation, it's not an excuse.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. But I mean, you know, didn't Elliot say she's from Texas?
Yeah.
Right. I have several friends from Texas who are not of that mindset. So it's not a Texas thing per se. Do you know what I mean? It's, again, like you say, it's an excuse because you're from Texas. But also, again, knowing some of those communities and what have you, Florida's another one that in the more rural areas isn't the most accepting of places. Ironic that they've got Disney World, the gayest fucking place on earth. But it's, you know, it is, I think it is unfortunately a harsh reality that, and you know, it's the Trump states, dare I say it. You know, you've only got to look at sort of that little map, and it's that's kind of where it's all going to fall. But I guess I suppose the thing is in my lovely little secluded mind in my corner of the world, I just like to think that these people are all privileged white straight cis people. So to hear it from a gay drag queen has such thoughts and attitudes is just it always surprises me, and I guess it shouldn't, but it always does still.
There's our community, like the gay community or the LGBTQ plus, you know, all that jazz, the alphabet-y, spaghetti committee.
As I call it.
Yeah.
But it's just full of what's the word? Like homophobic people who are saying things which don't necessarily mean homophobic things.
Yeah.
They're saying it in a way that means it homophobic.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely I think probably so from someone completely on the outside of that community, so like, you know, our friends who aren't part of that sort of whole thing, probably look in from the outside very differently to how we see from the inside. And there is, you know, even to give my personal experience on it, the bear community is, there we go, massively divided and do you know what I mean? So you've got these pockets within pockets within pockets, and it's not one big happy gay family. You know what I mean? Yeah, and it ain't. It really isn't.
But I can fit into the gay community because that's what I like. But I can also fit into the twink community, the drag community, and I've seen this from every single one of those sub communities. Like,
yeah.
It's just massive.
I think
problem.
ultimately what it comes down to is it is human to be a bit nasty. Unfortunately, that's ultimately, that's to me, that's kind of just where it lands.
I think it's probably also more, and this kind of ties in with like sociology studies and evolutionary studies, all this sort of stuff. At the end of the day, you know, humans are sort of social creatures, and like social creatures, you have to have an us that you are part of to form that social bond, be that other men, be that other bears, be that other women, be that other trans people, you know, whatever your particular definition of us is. And by default, our brains are programmed to then basically treat anyone else who isn't us as them. And where the issue is how you as an us treat them as a them.
Yeah.
And that's where the issues come in. And that's why you can have things like rampant transphobia within the queer community, because you've got, well, I think we've talked about it on other things, you have gay men who are insanely misogynistic, who are insanely transphobic, because in terms of their social circle, someone who is trans or someone who is female or identifies as female is other, and they don't actually deal with that other in a particularly sort of friendly, healthy, socially acceptable way. It's why we also have a huge problem with racism in the sort of the, well, generally, but also within the queer community. And again, you have that kind of thing of, but you are subject to bigotry yourselves. How can you be bigoted towards other people? That's just
not how it works. Unfortunately,
because part of it is because you've been subject, and it's that old thing about how abused kids can grow up to be abusers themselves. It's that pattern of, I'm being attacked, I'm going to draw my boundaries in, and it's the whole doubling down thing and sort of lashing back out. And there is no easy answer for it apart from, I suppose, just keep challenging those behaviours as they come up and not tolerating them when other people express them.
Yeah. This episode has got really fucking deep and dark at times, doesn't it?
But what did you think of Elliot's character?
Fucking awful.
Right, okay, here's the tea with Elliot's character, right? One of the two fucking teas. But she was banging on about, I'm doing Rue McClanahan. No, Rue McClanahan is, and was, beg your pardon, she passed, is an actress. You were doing Blanche Devereaux, the character from the Golden Girls. So let's be clear about that, bitch. And then you didn't even do that. You didn't look like her. The wig was wrong. You didn't sound like her. You hung on to the fact that her reputation is she's a bit of a slag. Hi, been there, done that. So have published the book, Porno Biography. Find it on Amazon. But volume 2 and 3 coming soon. And just
for the record, I'm not in it.
He's not in it, and nor's Tom. That came out like a bit weird, actually. But just basically, I didn't know Tom back then. Tom would have been
well, you know me in volume 2 and 3, so I hope that I'm not in these either.
No. Basically, all of the volumes are set between me being 15 and me being realistically about 45, 46. There are no stories after either of you two knew me, because I'd only known Tom I'd only known Tom about 3 months when I met you. So there's no overlap with the life you two both know of me.
We know the same Paul. We know the same Paul.
Blanche Devereaux. Rue laid it out heavy. Rue knows the Golden Girls. Queens of our age know the Golden Girls. Queens of lots of ages know the Golden Girls. But you know, we were late teens when it was kind of hitting the airwaves over here, and you know,
It's one of those shows we grew up with,
basically. And you know, I mean, it'd be like Friends for your generation, Tom. Do you know what I mean? It's that kind of.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, whether or not you like it is another matter. But and I just ow, why? No. It was wrong. It was awful. What I was saying to Paul, I think the Golden Girls is hard to touch because somebody did be Arthur as Dorothy in a previous season. Can't think who it was, and that died on its ass too. I think if you're going to do the Golden Girls, you could do Rose and be the ditzy, but I don't think it's as straightforward as that. And also Betty White, that's another one I don't think you should really touch. I think if you're going to do the Golden Girls, you go Sophia Petrillo because it's a look that's very definable. And I think it's a character that fits into anything Snatch Game throws at you easier. Because every time they come to you, it's Sicily, 1922. Do you know what I mean? There's the Sophia, it's almost built for Snatch Game as long as you can do it right. Other than that, don't touch iconic things like that. Whoa.
Plus, I think Sophia's weirdly got quite a kind of a drag-friendly persona. It's very much the. I mean, Dorothy as well, because obviously that's the whole mother-daughter thing. But I think Dorothy's character is set up to be kind of quite an intellectual, sarcastic bitch, essentially. Sophia Petrillo is basically just the I've had a stroke, I tell it like it is, truth bomb type stuff, which basically is just an excuse for her to just be functionally rude to people. But that kind of in-your-face humor, I think, does translate very well to that particular style of drag humor, where it's very much the poke fun of the audience type thing.
Interesting. So B. Arthur was done on All Stars 1 by Raven.
Ooh.
And it was shit. Sorry, Rave, but it was shit. Yeah, Tom, what did you think of
Someone who I don't know. I don't know.
Did you find her funny?
No, it was just about men.
That was it. That's all it was. That was the point. And then, interestingly, for her runway look,
what I think you've written.
I've written cock, and then flamingo, because when she first came out, I saw the top and thought she was a cockerel.
I thought she was a cockatoo.
Yeah, with this, she probably had a cock or two. I'm busting to get that joke in panto. Dan would kill me. Do you keep birds? Are you sure? You definitely like you had a cockatoo. But it was watch Final Night. It's going in. But I could get it into the project. It would work in the project. It's coming into the project. Yeah, I saw. I didn't see flamingo because flamingos don't have big blooming head pieces. And I didn't get the one leg thing until it was pointed out.
No, I just I like the asymmetry of it, but I didn't realize she was actually. Are you seeing things, Tom?
No, I'm like one leg. What are you on about one leg? I'm like, she had two legs. But then I remember then it was like the weird.
Yeah, she had one pink leg and one was like skinned out with Diamante.
Well, I'm colorblind. They look the same.
Interesting. Okay, they were two very different colors, actually. Yeah,
they weren't. I mean, one was pink and one was light pink.
I mean, it wasn't like black and white, so it wasn't that different. But yeah, actually, you know, I think they weren't massively different at all, were they?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, no. Hi, bitch.
Turns out, by what a bitch.
Yeah. Tia Burner. The exercise thing I am vaguely familiar with, but I think I'm more familiar with because I want to say he's been sent up in like a scary movie or one of those type of films,
Probably.
rather than I actually know the dude in question. But in the picture they brought up, he appeared to be in a frock. So is he drag in his own right, or
I genuinely don't know,
or cross dress in some way? I don't know. Not someone I'm familiar with, but. yeah, no, didn't quite land for me. I just trying too hard. That was the only way I can describe it. She just looked like she was trying too hard to land a joke rather than just going with what she could work with. And then on the runway, horse thing. Yes, okay, I know what this is now. And I thought it just looked a bit of a mess. I
tell you who did it better. Davina De Campo in season 1 of UK.
Yeah, actually, I know what you mean. Yes, yeah. No, it was just like the horse on the head. Fine, got that, but it was the main body. It just looked like that's what it reminded me of, and only certain people would get this. Is in the latter half of The Empire Strikes Back, Luke Skywalker has this kind of weird brown outfit with breast pockets when he goes to Cloud City.
Oh yeah,
when he fights Vader. And it reminded me of that. It was like
he had on Dagobah as well.
I think he wore on Dagobah for a little bit, yeah.
Basically like his jumpsuit.
Yeah. I mean, the action figure was called Bespin Fatigues. So that's a thing. But yeah, just no.
It was a bit costumey and crafty for me.
A bit half not there for me. Yeah, like he's only wearing half of what he meant to wear.
Well, at least she wasn't wearing red, orange, yellow, all the mixture.
Small mercies. Small mercies to be grateful for, isn't it?
She was in one way, really, because she wore it in Snatch Game, but still.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Snatch Game was still her signature, which I think, actually, in some ways, that's probably a bit clever. If you can correctly do Snatch Game, but still bring your own signature theme to it, that's probably not actually a bad thing if you're a bit more memorable in Snatch Game generally. I mean, if she'd then been funny and still had that touch of Tina Burner about her because she had her colours on, I think we'd have all been going, "Oh, that was genius." But because it was her colours, and we're all going, You know what I mean? And lastly, Candy Muse, Patrick Starr. I was confused as fuck throughout the first few minutes of Snatch Game as to why the hell she looked nothing like Patrick Starr until I remembered I was thinking of Jeffree Star. When you said who she was doing, they even flashed up the picture, and I thought, sure, that's not what she looks like. And then I was sat there going, our previous lodger follows a lot of these sort of people on socials, and used to show me a lot of Jeffree Star stuff. And apparently there was, I think about a year ago or a year and a half ago, there was like massive hoo-ha on social media with Jeffree Star about something and nothing. And he basically chatted to me in the kitchen for an hour about it. And I just got in from work. I wasn't even listening. I was just thinking about the chicken in the oven. But it was, and so I'm looking at Candy Muse going, I'm sure Patrick Starr's a skinny white boy. Possibly is Jeffree Star trans? I'm not sure, but
no, he's a man.
Yeah,
a man. I wouldn't say they're non-binary. Definitely not. I think it's just a man who likes to wear dresses.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
And does a lot of like makeup tutorials and stuff like that, and has made an absolute fuckload of money out of being a influencer.
He made a fuckload of money out of taking money from people.
Oh,
we won't go into that because this video is long enough.
I know. Is that possibly the drama that James was like spending an hour talking about?
Probably. So yeah, sorry James if you watch. But if I glazed over, you didn't notice. But
a nicer version of Starr, which is Patrick Starr, is who I look up to. But yeah, turbans, my thing. Love them.
Yeah.
I didn't get much Patrick Starr from Candy though.
Well, this is the thing. So after realizing I got the wrong person, I then realized I did not know who Patrick Starr is. But I said to Paul, I said, unless Patrick Starr is really like Candy Muse, I don't think she's doing a good job because she was just being Candy from the Hood. That's all I saw. All I saw. And then she wore that black and white fucking tent, and it was basically the same dress from the last episode, but in black and white rather than yellow. And it was 3 levels.
Yeah.
So basically, you know how a child would draw a Christmas tree? That's what this dress was. It was like an all-round skirt from here out, an all-round skirt from here out, and an all-round skirt from here out. Just 3 skirts on top of each other. That's all I can just. That's the best I can do with it. And I have no idea A, why she was safe 2 weeks ago, and B, why she was safe now. Now, as I found out in earlier episodes, actually, as a person, I don't hate her like I thought I initially did, but I am not seeing her as anywhere near someone who should get near the final this season at all. And as for her continual, I was in the top, I was in the top. Were you though? Because no, I don't see you in the top much at all, honey bun. I just don't. I don't see the quality there at all.
Has she even won a challenge yet? I can't remember.
I don't think she has.
So.
She's been in the bottom a few times.
Yeah.
And
So in that case,
largely
she's just been
safe.
been flatlining.
Coasting.
But I know we've had quite a few like when we've watched things like Untucked after an episode or whatever, and she's whittling on about, I deserve to win that, this, that, and the other. I was in the top, and you're sort of thinking, but you were safe, and that's been a recurring thing where she seems to think she's actually achieving higher than she actually is.
Well, she's got a win down for episode 1, but with 4 other people. They must have all won.
Oh, it was the
Winner's
lip
circle. Winner's circle. Winner's circle. Right.
So
So she was basically episode 3 wasn't her. It was the other batch of queens. She was high for episode 4, safe bottom 2, high bottom 2, safe. So actually, she's an equal amount of top, middle, and bottom, but not an actual win.
So she's like basically just, but I feel like she's just on an average, she's just gliding along.
Mathematically, the bottoms and the tops would equal each other out, so she is just literally sat in the middle. Scientifically speaking, actual science.
Because we're scientists now.
We are. I learned from Carol Vorderman. I learned from the best. Magnus Magnuson or somebody anyway. No, Magnus Magnuson? He was a quiz, wasn't he? Magnus Pike? He was the scientist, Magnus Pike. Anyway. Yeah, so wasn't loving. Didn't love Patrick Starr, didn't love the tent. Just it was a big no all round for me. And then we had a very scary lip sync, which we've already kind of talked about. And from the sounds of things, thank fuck for that. Go back to your bloody misogynistic, small-minded lifestyle, cunt. That's my opinion. So there we are. So we've we got on for a fair amount. I don't think we've quite topped the episode length. Quite.
No, we've been on for quite an hour yet. I don't think so.
No. We're doing all right. We're doing okay. Fab. Well, it's join us next week for another counselling session, kids. And
yeah.
Right. Goodbye.
Bye.